Good evening, Sharks fam. Yes, I'm that excited about this game. Shut up, you guys.
What the fuck? Kermit the Frog's hosting the show. Oh my god.
It's not easy being me.
Okay. Somebody's listening. We're going to sound like a bunch of teenagers here.
Welcome to this episode of Pucknology After Dark. After a 6-3 Sharks victory over the best team in the NHL, the Anaheim Ducks. I can't look at you, AJ. We are joined by Gentry Alexander, AJ Strong, and Chris JWS. If you can't tell, I'm sick, recovering from having laryngitis. These guys are making fun of me. I don't give a fuck.
Dude, it sounds like we're waiting for you to hit puberty, man. We gotta laugh.
With that, I hate you all. All right.
I gotta start drinking more.
It's a good thing we won tonight.
Yeah.
With that being said, guys, take it away.
So I'll start with my thoughts here. I really poor Eric here because his voice sounds like it's getting worse and worse by the moment. If you were following me on Twitter, I was none too impressed with the first period. Thought it was a so-so effort overall, but second period, there were a couple guys who really made up for it. Like the third line in the first period was brutal, as was the third pairing on the defense. Irwin managed to score, Goodrow managed to score, Shepard managed to score. So overall, I thought the second period was clearly where this game was won. There's your analysis right there. A period where we score 5 goals is the period we won in. But I thought that was a really important period. They came out, they kind of took the game over. This is, it is a hopeful sign of their chances of still making the playoffs when they can take on the best team in the NHL and they're 4-0-1 against them. So yeah, I'll hand off to AJ or.
For me, I like the first period. It actually kind of went the way I was expecting it to go. I was hoping it would be, finish the first period, get your legs under you, show, clearly energy has been a thing that they've been talking about, coming out with passion over the last, few games, especially when McClellan called them out. So seeing them finish it, tied at 1, I was like, okay, that's a good place to be. That second period, with the exception of that first, that power play that started things off, which was just abysmal. I don't know what was going on with that power play. As good as the first goal with that tic-tac-toe from Marleau to Thornton to Pavs right in front, that looked great. And then it just made you wonder, like, wow, what the hell? Like, did you make some intermission adjustments on the power play for some godforsaken reason? But aside from that, obviously they opened it up and, getting tallies from the likes of Goodrow and Dillon and Irwin and Shepard, like, seriously? Like, who saw that coming? But the thing that I can see where Chris is coming from on the first period, looking at some of the stats, like the Sharks were being outshot 14-9, they were being outhit 16-8. The one good thing that you could take away from them is they were 70% in the face-off circle in that first period, which was pretty fantastic. I liked definitely what I saw from Tennyson and Goodrow. Those guys need to be singled out. There was a couple times where Goodrow looked like he could have been wearing 18. He looked like to be doing a really nice impression of Mike Ricci. No, not Matt Carl, Mike Ricci. He looked really good. Not Mike Brown? Yeah, not Mike Brown either. He looked like Mike Ricci. And, God damn it, you guys threw me off. But, I liked what I saw from Tennyson. That was the other guy. I really liked what I saw. I don't even give a shit if Braun. When Braun comes back, he comes back. But at this point, Tennyson to me seems he's definitely one of the second grouping guys. Obviously, Vlasic is a top guy. You're probably going to put Burns up there, but to lock down that second pairing, I really like Tennyson and Dillon tonight. I thought they did a pretty good job. And then as we get to the tire fire of Hannon and Irwin, the first 2 goals that the Sharks gave up, Hannon both times, rewind the tape. Hannon is sitting not 5 feet from Niemi on both goals and just watching the play happen instead of getting involved, getting his stick in there. Just
that is hashtag TireFire 2015, by the way. That's what I know. I'm trying to get that trending on Twitter.
Yeah. So other than that, obviously a great game. Going 4-0-1 against the number 1 team in the league is obviously huge. But as I talked about on Twitter earlier, let's not start sucking each other's dicks quite yet. It's 4-0-1. The last time we owned Anaheim in the regular season in 2009, the Sharks got bounced by Anaheim in the first round, and pretty handedly, I might add. So, let's not start sucking each other off just yet. Let's see what happens later. Let's see if they make the playoffs. But you know what? To own the best team in the NHL handedly, I'm pretty happy with that. But I do have to wonder if Anaheim's really happy with starting Brizgalov tonight over Anderson.
Oh, Mr. Universe. I mean, that's the more entertaining value because his 5-hole is so humongous big.
Beach ball size. Take your thoughts, Gentry.
I was at work and couldn't watch the game, so I was just going by
Eric.
So I was just going by Twitter. Twitter was pretty much my house.
It was
Brizgalov went Brizlaw night,
Right. It was one of those nights where pretty much any decent shot was going in. I was criticizing the first power play early on because it was just not working together. And then all of a sudden you have that beautiful tic-tac-toe play for Pavelski. Where the hell has that been in 24 years of this franchise? It's been that was amazing on that goal. Which
Haley's comment.
No kidding. It was something else. I thought it was very impressive. Which gave Pavelski 13 power play goals. He now leads the NHL in power play goals. To which I say, how did this guy not?
I believe Pavelski is tied with Ovechkin for power play goals.
Oh, it's tied. My bad. I thought he had to lead. Same question though. How did this guy not get to go to Columbus last week?
Because he plays in PST. I mean, I dare anyone to come
for
up with
those
better
of you who don't know, PST, when not treated, can spread. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There is no magic pill for PST. No, it's basically the symptoms are ESPN sports writers not giving a shit about you.
No coverage from local media.
General purpose apathy, and all-star snubbery. Those are if you experience these, call your doctor immediately. You may have PST.
Not to be confused with
public service
PTS.
announcement.
Not to be confused with PTS, which is post-Steele syndrome.
Speaking of which, quick 5 seconds for those Sharks fans of you that don't know or really don't give a shit. Today, Maxime Leperrier was traded for Marcel Gotch, a former Shark, which can only mean that Gotch is probably going to have a 5-point night sometime next week.
So you're saying they traded a turd for Marcel Gotch? That's a pretty good deal.
Hey, he Leperrier, he makes amazing all-star defensemen play like a shell of themselves with one hit.
Ouch.
Yeah. Careful, that Gentry's on here. It might be emotional for him.
No. Well, we all saw what happened. We all saw what happened with Eric and Ray Whitney's retirement. So yeah, we'll go. Okay, let's move on, boys. Chris, you got your stats, Mr. Hockey Stat Geek.
Oh yes, I got a few. I mean, well, like I said, the first period had its share of stats. Like I saw, like you said, we're 70% of draws, I think, overall. but no one Shark player was 50%, or I think all the worst ones were 50%. So that was one of the better things coming out of the first. Honestly, I stopped keeping track as much after like mid-second period because it's kind of like, yeah, this is a blowout. The stats are all going to be skewed to hell here. But the one thing that did persist throughout the blowout is Hannon and Irwin is, well, Tire Fire 2015. Thoughts on that they're still out there playing. So Tennyson, this is 2 games now, or 3 now, where he's been on the second pairing over those 2. So answer me this. Is there any reason, once Mueller and Braun are back, that Irwin or Hannon should see the ice more than maybe once a month? You know, that they should not be put on the Stalock schedule of ice time?
I think you have to strongly consider it because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, was Hannon on the ice for all 3 goals tonight?
I know he was on for the first 2.
At least for 2. I don't know about 3.
All right. I mean, it just seems like that these guys are the ones getting caught.
It wouldn't surprise me, considering where the game was at that time. You know, that was pretty much out of hand. You know, typically that's the time when the lower level guys, the third liners, the fourth liners, your bottom pairings get extra time. So it wouldn't surprise me in the least if Hannon was in fact on the ice for that.
But the thing about Doug Wilson is that he loves his overaged, his aged defensemen. I mean, look what he did with Kent Huskins and Colin White. It's just he keeps giving these guys contracts, and let us not forget our secret weapon and the sole purpose while we got to the Western Conference Finals for 2 years in a row, Nicholas Wallin.
Well, and how many times? God. How many goddamn times did he bring back that runaway disaster of Jeff Norton? Oh no, I'm sorry.
That was Lombardi.
Yeah, that was Lombardi. But still, it just goes to show that the Sharks have some love affair with bringing back over the hill, past their sell date defensemen.
So here's the thing. Even in a blowout, Hannon and Irwin logged about 12 minutes of ice time each in a blowout.
That's pretty. I mean, that's decent.
That's not that much though. If you think about it for a defenseman, like, does that not show how little trust? Because like you figure it'd probably be closer to 20, 20, 20, 20 all across the board from like the top pairing down, because you play your other pairings a little bit more to keep the top pairing from getting exhausted. But like Brent Burns played 27 minutes tonight. Dylan played 20. It's just a lot. I mean, a lot of the top guys played a lot of minutes. It seems like McClellan has no trust in that bottom pair. I mean, again, we're kind of beating a dead horse on this in some ways, because everyone knows they're bad. But it's like I was asked a question like, when Mueller and Braun are back, we know that these 2 terrible players are going to see the ice some more, but is there really any excuse at this point? Tennyson has pretty well cemented his spot in the top 4, or at least the top 6.
Top 4 to me.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be top 4. He's shown that he's more dependable both ways.
And the interesting thing about Hannon, if you do look at the stats, which are always fun and completely misleading, we had 3 guys finish with minuses tonight. Hannon, of course, was I'm sorry, 4 guys. Hannon was a -1. You want to take any guess at the other 3? Melker Carlson, John Scott, which is to be expected, and Captain America himself, Pavelski, finished -1 tonight. And Pavelski was also very pedestrian in the faceoff circle, 4 for 9 tonight, which I thought was interesting. Whereas Ty McGinn, he only took 1, but he took it. Marlowe, interestingly enough, only took 1 tonight. I usually expect at least 3 or 4 out of him. But Couture owned the circle with 75% tonight. Owned it. Whereas big money Jumbo was 50%, 5 for 10.
Now, speaking of the big name players, are we excited to starting to see the reemergence, as it were, of Patrick Marleau? That's what,
Let's
2 games in
not
a row.
start sucking each other's dick quite yet. It was
No,
one
but
game. It was one game.
well, actually, that's 2 games in a row where
There's been a couple games.
yeah, where he's had
He's starting to get on the stretch.
Yeah.
I will say that Marleau definitely looked like he had a little more speed under his feet. I don't know if that had to do with anything about this being an NBC game and knowing that Roenick was just waiting to, take a nice passive-aggressive swipe at him, which he did in the pregame. He didn't call him out by name, but did say, going 1 for 18, for over the last 12 games.
Well, he did give him some kudos when in the second intermission. Guys, we got a tweet in.
breaking news.
Yes, Brody Brazil CSN. No Postgame show tonight, so I'm watching, fellas. No pressure. So.
Are you serious?
What?
Oh man, DJ Brodog? DJ Brodog's watching this?
Where's my
I
makeup?
think so.
No pressure.
Brody.
Okay, now here's the problem with this. Okay, now Brody, at least give us a heads up. If we know that that's going to be happening, we'll all put on ties.
Yeah.
We'll step up our tie game. You got to let us know. Just give us like 10 minutes of prep.
Well, technically, here we'll just.
We do have some ties.
Okay,
but
not quite, guys.
NHL
Anyway,
ties. You better be watching this too while you're at it.
Yeah.
And I'm doing this without a voice, so come on. Anyways, sorry.
Anyways, real quick, couple more points before we get out. Let's get off the stat stuff pretty quick here because I know Phil are going to get lost and plays over a little bit here. But one that I saw before the game that I tweeted out after, or I retweeted after the first goal by the Ducks, Kevin Kurz pointed out Ducks are 23-0-5 when scoring first this season.
And this is their first regulation loss.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty big thing. And then the other part of that was 16-0-2 when the first period doesn't apply here, but just the same. Again, shows the dominance of that team.
But it just goes to point out how many times a team can be just killing it during the regular season, but there's that one team that just has their number. Wasn't it like the St. Louis Blues 2 years ago just had the Sharks number no matter what the situation was? They would have injuries, the Sharks would be fully loaded, and still the Blues would make them look inferior. And there was really no reason for it. It was just that particular year, St. Louis just owned them. And right now, this year, the Sharks just own Anaheim for some reason. But like I said, we go back to 2009, and we saw this happen before, so let's let it play out.
Yeah, you can't.
Let's slow the roll there a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, you've got another team that we should be owning and we aren't, and that is the Buffalo Sabres. They've had our number for many, many, many years.
Great point.
You could say the same thing with Florida in Florida. Just one of those So.
But see, at least the thing though is like Anaheim owns the league right now. They're the most. Whereas when Buffalo kills the Sharks, it's always when they're scraping the bottom of the basement. That's the thing that really gets it.
It's one of those weird things. It's like how they say, it's why they play the game.
Well, it also seems to be the Sharks thing with getting up and getting down for the right games. Like, they seem to get up for the bigger opponents. They seem to go after it more, but it seems like, with the littler guys, they don't always get up for the game. And honestly, after breaks, it's always been a problem, too. Like, whenever we have, like, a 5-day break, often they come out flat. So I guess that is another good sign tonight is coming off a long, extended break there. They actually came out and came hard at the Ducks. First period, like I said, was so-so, but second period, they just kind of started throwing punches, and Ducks had no answer.
Yeah, they definitely showed some signs of like getting some good rest. Thornton and Cabo and whatnot. And speaking of people that went on vacation, Brody Brazil in Tahoe, he is telling us that this show needs more bathrobes and less ties because, of course, this is after dark.
Oh, jeez.
All right. So we know that for the next time. We know it for the next time. That's the most important
Can we
thing.
possibly get a loan for Slappy? Because I think What's bring him back? Come on.
When you said alone, at first I was like, oh, you're gonna like want to try to dive into their wardrobe budget, but no. Okay. I love the all right, we already have a red robe going. We like it. Oh, and Eric, speak up a little bit so they can see the robe.
That's right. There you go. Nice Sharks robe.
Isn't that a Snuggie?
I got the nerdy Star Trek one right here. So, but
I'm sorry. You know what? I typically go au natural. Nobody wants to see that.
No.
So we have to. So let's
move
along from the stat games. We beat the crap out of them. 4-on-1, 8-25 on the power play over that series, which is fantastic. We kind of discussed Pavelski with the All-Star snub. I still don't get that. If he's playing on the East Coast, he's a shoo-in for a vote. I don't understand how that doesn't happen.
And for that matter, a potential early votes for MVP.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So we just to flashback for a week. I was at Metallica night. It was fantastic. It was actually walking through the mezzanine, the main concourse area. Walked by James Hetfield and Robert Trujillo. Very cool dudes. Got to say hi to them. Getting the Metallica shirt. Not the easiest line to get through. It was quite a while. But we did score. We got our Metallica shirt.
Yeah.
And that was very cool. Having James Hetfield announce the starting lineup was one of the coolest things ever.
Can he do that for the playoffs?
Oh, he was so good at it. It was fantastic.
Yeah. The most important thing is none of this came through on TV for those of us who are not there.
Yeah, of course. Well, I saw Gentry at the game. Hetfield doing that was awesome. The puck drop was fantastic. It was just just a fun game overall. And then now today, that's the Metallica night. That's a week and a half ago, whatever. And then today, the big announcement. That took a whole 20 minutes for a press conference. The Pacific Division of the AHL coming out, which I thought was, I appreciate that they're promoting it. I appreciate that. Okay, we're going to hold a press conference on this. However, I didn't appreciate the fact that it was. What's funny is that apparently in one press release they referred to the new AHL, this division, as the Western Division, and then in a separate press release it was referred to as a Pacific Division. So somebody's going to dot the I's and cross the T's. The only thing that bummed me out about this is that you ended up finding out the cities where the minor league team for the Kings is going to Ontario, the Ducks are going to San Diego, Calgary's going to Stockton, whereas apparently the Stockton Thunder are moving back to New York to take the place of the Calgary affiliate, and then the Oilers are moving to Bakersfield. The thing, though, that bummed me out was I was expecting, if this was a press conference, let's see jerseys, let's see the new logos, let's see the new names. That's what I was hoping for. Hopefully they'll roll out another press conference similar to what they did today, where they bring it all together instead of every team having a little 10-minute press thing, or not even doing that, just tweeting it out and, hey, here's a little piece of news. I would much rather see them, throw it out there and do another press conference where they show every single one.
Do you think they'll do that? They'll announce the new AHL team for the Sharks. Do you think they'll announce it at the Stadium Series? Because why not?
I wouldn't think so, because I don't think that they want to rain on the Stadium Parade.
Yeah, I also think it's probably early. It's probably decision. They probably just initially made this decision, like, okay, it's coming out west. They probably haven't even gotten to, okay, let's debate names and debate all that stuff. That's probably like stuff that's going to get worked out. Probably.
Will they hold a vote? Will they hold a fan vote like they did, 24 years ago?
Stockton will have one. Stockton said that they will have a name the team vote. The Sharks Tortora kind of made it sound like it was already in the works, that the team name, colors, and logo will be out a later date.
I heard it was sometime later on in February, so that kind of makes me think, like, if they're going to announce it, might as well do it like, either before or like do it like sometime before the Stadium Series and then just promote the heck out of it,
That's
at the game.
See,
that's probably what they're going to do.
I think they would do it at like maybe a day or two after the series, where everybody, because there's all this buildup. There's the Epic Series, between all that, they just want to just spend the next, 20 some odd days promoting the Stadium Series. I hear that there's only 500 tickets left, which I think I've heard for like the last 6 weeks, but that's okay. But they're just going to promote the hell out of the Stadium Series. I think like a couple days after everybody comes down from the Stadium Series, then here's a piece of news, and it's a nice segue to go to put in between. If you're a PR person, it's a perfect thing that we have all this build up for the Stadium Series, and then you have essentially about 10 days between the Stadium Series and the trade deadline. It's a perfect time to go in, with an announcement with, for the AHL team.
And it makes sense because I think the Sharks have like their last bit of long layoff before the stretch into the playoffs. They have the game on the 21st, and then you have 4 days off. Those 4 days, you could probably just promote the heck out of your new AHL club. The question I have for you guys is, does this kind of cement where hockey actually works in California, or do we still have to wait a little bit for that?
I would say I have to wait a little. Well, in some ways, yes, but I would say we have to wait a little bit because let's see how this works out 2 years from now. Because if 2 years from now this move just completely bombs and most of these teams end up moving somewhere else because they don't have enough fan support, then maybe it's a bit of a wash. But I would say regardless, hockey's made a mark in California. The fact that you have the Duck, Sharks, Kings alone, it's made a mark. It's just a matter of how embedded it really is in California.
It's made a mark. You have the biggest hockey facility west of the Mississippi, which to me that's just huge. I know they were talking about it earlier today in the press conference. They even mentioned it on the NBC show that whatever it was 10, 15 years ago, there were like two small like junior league NHL teams, and now there's 41, which is fantastic. But for me, the thing is, in the last 20 years, there have been two minor league franchises: the San Francisco Spiders, the San Francisco Bulls. Spiders lasted barely 1 year. The Bulls didn't even make it past their second year. So that, to me, if they can hit the third year, and I know that they're not looking for a lot of tickets sold. From what I saw, I think on one of the press releases, was that Totora was throwing out a number of like somewhere between 5,000 and 7,000 for to average that over the course of the game. I don't think that's bad at all. I thought the Spiders, or I'm sorry, not the Spiders, the San Francisco Bulls were averaging right around 5,000. But then again, you have to take into account that they're playing in the world's most dilapidated facility. I mean, what a crap hole, the Cow Palace is. Oy. Getting in and out of there is a pain in the ass. There's nothing around there to go to before and after the game, whereas with this minor league team, they're playing at the Shark Tank. That's fantastic. You do the same, it's the same routine, whether you go to San Pedro Square, whatever local places you hit, it doesn't screw up your routine, and it's a little lighter on your wallet, and you get invested in those players, and as you see them coming up, as Wilson alluded to earlier today in the presser. I think that's brilliant. I'm thinking about being a season ticket holder. I'm excited about this.
No, I think that's a great idea, and I like the fact how and like ticket prices are going to be cheaper. I think they were saying that it was going to be between like $14 and $37, and like that's and for someone, when you're trying to get somebody into the game of hockey, and you want to say, oh, the only place that you could have really said was let's go to a Sharks game, but that's $40 if you're lucky, but. And when the Bulls were there, you could have been like, oh, yeah, $12 for a ticket, and just go and have a good time. But now you have, the AHL coming into San Jose, and you can be like, hey, let's go to a game. It won't cost us an arm and a leg, and it's still the same routine as if you're going to SAP Center.
And I think you throw into the fact too is that it's one of those things where it's cost beneficial that if you're hanging out at San Pedro Square or wherever in downtown, and you get a tweet or you get some sort of alert. Oh, you know what? Hey, that AHL team, whatever the Hammerheads or the whatever they end up being. Hey, you know just let it go, man. Let it go, dude. It's gonna be something like, hey, you know that I'm rooting for them to bring the Spiders back, but say, hey, the AHL affiliate is playing a game. Let's hop down there because it's almost ticket prices. It's like going to see a movie.
Yeah.
Go down there.
No, it makes total sense. Surprised that they didn't put it in Oakland or San Francisco. But the thing is that they wanted to have it in their building. They control everything. You're going to have a lot of double headers, which will be a lot of fun, I think.
I think that'll be awesome.
It's true.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
now is the them playing in SAP Center, is that going to be a permanent fixture, or is that just temporary until they build a new arena or until they can find them like a home for this? Because I didn't understand quite. It's like I knew they were going to play for next season, and I was like, okay, then after that, what? Are we still going to keep them in SAP Center?
I think it depends on how they draw. If they draw numbers higher than are expected, then maybe they roll with it for another season. I think it also depends on where they decide to end up putting the team, whether it's in Fresno or Sacramento. And if they're going to do it in Sacramento, are they going to wait for the Kings to build a new facility and get into bed with them? Are they going to use the Kings' former facility as their building? I mean, there's a lot of things to take into account, but like I said at the beginning, I think it's a case of you look to see how it draws. And like we had mentioned, we have the biggest facility, this side of the Mississippi. I love it. I love the idea, and especially if the Sharks promote it. I love the idea. I can't support it.
If there's more, you gotta love it when there's more hockey in California. I mean, and that's the best part, is that you never thought that so many years ago that we would be in a potential hockey bed of an area, and now it's grown, and now we have two teams to look forward to playing. So.
And just think, if the Roller Hockey International is still around, how much this place has grown in almost 25 years. And if you want to go back to when Gretzky was traded to LA in '88, it's amazing how one trade for the greatest player in the world who ever played hockey can change the hockey landscape forever. It's simply amazing.
Yeah. So with the planned expansion of Sharks Ice that I think we've all heard about this. One of the ideas I heard thrown out there is the idea that maybe they slightly revamp that plan to where part of that expansion. Last I heard, the expansion would near double Sharks Ice as it stands right now. And what if an idea I heard thrown out is, what if they were to take that expansion, change it up a little bit to where one of those rinks will have, 5 to 10,000 seating. Like right now, they have seating for maybe 200 or 300. What if one of those rinks that they add has the capacity of, to maybe 5,000 or so?
I love it.
That could open the way for SJSU hockey to get bigger. 'Cause, if you ever been to an SJSU game, it's not the greatest experience. But what if they were to expand Sharks Ice and make some of that actual good quality seating and eventually move them down there? The other thought I had also was, I don't think any of you were, but I was an SJSU student. I didn't have a lot of extra money, but when I was going to college there, Sharks games on the low end were costing me around $18, on some nights. And yeah, if I was a student now, I definitely could not afford the kind of $35 to get in minimum that's on most nights. Maybe it'll start appealing a little bit more to the college demographic, which in turn, that breed Sharks fans, get the youth, get the younger people involved.
Oh, and I love that idea. I don't know if you caught part of. I don't know if it was the press conference, the press release on that, but okay, Eric, you need to calm that dog down. So in the press release, there was something mentioned about the idea of doing like a matinee on a Wednesday and having kind of a hockey field trip for students.
Yeah.
Which I thought was like, oh my God, what a great way to grow it up. Like, to me, that's one of the reasons why it has to do partially with one of the reasons why Apple was successful is that they really got into the educational market. So you got kids used to being on Apple products early. It's kind of like do the same kind of ideology where you get them interested in it when they're younger. Because we talked about this in the last podcast, where it's a case of this. I expect this to be so family friendly because of the pricing structure. When you go to a San Francisco Giants game, some of it's you see the C and B scene crowd, but it's typically an older crowd. You don't see a whole lot of kids at that. But when I go to a San Jose Giants game, oh my God, it's a ton load of San Jose Giants. So, I love that. I don't know what the hell Eric was just doing, but anyway.
And don't you see it's like almost at every game they're behind the backstop.
Oh, and they're waving because they're on their phones, assholes. Okay. But you know what time it is, boys, right?
Oh.
Yes.
That's right, boys and girls. It's time to play one of your favorite games. It's 10:30. We're almost halfway through the podcast. It's time to play one of your favorite games, Buy or Sell.
You stole that from 95.7. Well, they probably stole it somewhere else, but hey. Anyways.
It doesn't matter. Okay, Buy or Sell. Everybody, Gentry, get on your buzzer, damn it.
Okay.
Everybody else is on their buzzer. Get on your buzzer, or you will be DQ'd. Okay, Buy or Sell. We are almost 1 month away from the trade deadline. We are up and down in the playoffs. We're 2 points away from being, we did have a win tonight, but LA is on our heels. Do you risk the short term for another run this season?
Ding.
Oh, I do believe I heard Chris first.
I don't. Me personally, no, and I don't think Doug Wilson will either. I expect if he makes any trades at all at the deadline, I think they're going to be small. I think if the Sharks were right on Anaheim's tail, I think if he felt like they were definitely going to make the playoffs, I think he'd be more inclined to make a bigger trade. But I think maybe we'll see something to maybe try and shore up either the bottom third pairing of the defense or the bottom six. I don't know if it'll be anything better than McGinn for Winnick and Gagliardi, but let's not go down that road. But I think at best it'll be one of those smaller ones, just based on I think where we're at. Unless like suddenly they just get really red hot and suddenly are on Anaheim's tails in another month from now.
I think Chris misunderstood the question. It's buy or sell, not be stagnant. What are we doing? Are you
It's buy or sell.
Are you selling?
I'm selling.
Okay. Eric, you have the chance to steal with a better answer. Go ahead.
I will sell as well. I think while Chris says the right answer is it depends on how hot they get between now and maybe the outdoor game. Do they go for somebody? Maybe. Is there a chance that they will? Probably not. I don't think they would be a seller at the deadline, but I don't think they would buy into a big deal at all.
Gentry, it is your turn.
I would go with sell as well. And I feel like you've got to look at your assets and you got to look at what's working this season and what's not. Clearly, we have some bottom third pairing issues other than, Tennyson, and then when Braun comes back. And then you have bottom six, the bottom six is an issue. And also, you have potential, NHL elite goaltender, in Antoniemi, who's on a contract year, who's going to be looking for, a significant raise. Do you trade him? And I think they do.
Wow, that you are the most boring panel ever. I can't believe you all said the same thing. Okay, question
And
two.
I know this is terrible radio. There has to be
'Cause-
disagreements.
Exactly.
Like,
Question two. Get on your buzzers.
All right.
Get on your buzzers. Question two. There was a report from Pro Hockey Talk, the NHL to unveil ads on jerseys during the World Cup. Is this a good thing? Oh, that was Eric.
Hell bleeping no.
Support.
Let me do that again. Hell freaking no.
All right, support your argument.
Simple. You have advertisements on the boards. You have advertisements on the glass now. You have advertisements on the ice. I'm sorry, but to watch a European hockey game, it's distracting to see ads all over the place. Well, this is not NASCAR on skates. Keep it clean.
Eric's answer is, when is enough enough? Chris, your turn.
honestly, it doesn't bother me as much, but I probably watch more soccer than anyone else here, so I'm kind of like, it is what it is. Like, ultimately, they're going to monetize. I just have a question. Like, if we're talking about ad real estate here, isn't there a way we could, like, sell that giant space on John Turturro's forehead?
Oh.
Oh, low blow, but I like it. You get extra points for that.
There you go. Hey, I'm a bald guy. I can say that shit.
There you go. Gentry, your thoughts.
You know what? I'm going to play devil's advocate, and I'm going to say yes. Put logos on the jersey, put logos on the ice girls. I mean, put logos everywhere.
And
Because
if there was a mute button right now, I would use it.
Okay, Tony Rowley.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hey, anything that gets the NHL more revenue, which means that the salary cap goes up, I'm all for it.
Well, they will still cry poverty next time there's a lockout. Like, we're not making any money whatsoever. Literally, like, our executive can't even eat. They're out panhandling in downtown San Jose every weekend.
No, they would
that's
never
how
go
poor
to
we
downtown
are.
San
But
Jose.
here's
They
the
would
thing-
always panhandle in Willow Glen.
But
Oh.
here's the thing that could be potential comedy gold is imagine like you have one of the smaller market teams like Florida, having like the worst type of sponsors on their jersey, like, the Florida Panthers brought to you by Tampax.
Oh, no,
Bought
okay,
to
you know what, though?
by 123creditreport.com or
No, it's so funny you bring that up. I don't know if any of you guys pay attention to Saturday Night Live. They used to do bits about ESPN Classic where it was like, women's bowling brought to you by Vagisil. Douche. And, it was a great bit. But, okay, yeah, I agree with Eric and Chris get the point here because, god damn right, there's enough ads everywhere already, but with naming rights, and it's already overkill. The third and final question for you, hands on buzzers, gentlemen. This is the final game of the season against the Ducks, and it's only January. What exactly are the schedule makers smoking?
Ding.
Ding.
Gentry, that would be you. Now take into account, we also had three games against the Oilers over 5 games.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to say that they were on meth because they thought this was a good idea and they were watching a lot of Breaking Bad. So.
Okay, you have 1 point so far. Let's see if you can be topped. Christopher.
I would say they're smoking the bath salts. That's just crazy.
That's not nearly as funny. Eric.
I was guessing that they were hanging with Tim Lincecum.
No, the correct answer is too much Hall's Mentoliptus.
Shut up!
But
well done. I think AJ actually gets the point on that one.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us get it. You did kind of win that one.
Hey now. All right.
Yes, no shutout from me.
Oh. So what else do we have to cover, boys? Check out your notes, see what's going on. But we got Ducks are now 23-1-5 when scoring first. Ha-ha!
Haha, take
All
that.
right. We got the first goal of the season from the Hannon Irwin tire fire. Should be. I don't think anybody saw that come. But we look ahead towards the mighty Chicago Blackhawks, who for some reason seem to dominate the Sharks at the tank. However, as we know, Sharks came out good. It took a little bit of a get-go, but they got going, and they came out and they obviously totally dominated the second. I will say that tonight I was a little disappointed in the way that they played the third. It went into that whole, we don't want to lose, prevent defense, just kind of keep chipping the puck in their end, and we're not going to be exciting or anything like that. Let's roll the third and fourth lines more, which I do kind of understand, but at a certain point, you don't want to hang your goalie out to dry in certain situations. However, we look towards Saturday with the Blackhawks coming in. The Blackhawks face the Rubber Duckies tomorrow night, so we're going to get a team that's coming in, traveling. Hopefully Anaheim takes it to them. Hopefully the Sharks really got under their skin, which the Sharks tend to do, and pissed them off and light a fire under Perry and Kessler and Cogliano and Getzlaff, and we'll see how Anderson comes back after being called in the third, and I'll be honest with you boys, I really want to see Brizgalov's next game.
Oh yes.
If Marty
was Kessler even playing tonight? Like, I honestly didn't even notice him. Like, I barely, was it just me? Like, it seemed like he was kind of invisible.
It was far and few between tonight.
And Corey Perry wasn't doing any of his antics either, which was kind of surprising.
Oh, you mean his usual douchebaggery?
Yes.
Ugh. Yeah.
It was kind of a
no one
game.
you could stomp with his skate. No.
Yeah.
One of those
No. He's the cleanest player in the NHL, guys. The cleanest.
No, the cleanest is Rafi Torres, and
Rafi
Torres gets suspended
right
5 games for me saying that.
Right now, the leading candidates for the Lady Byng are Corey Perry and Dustin Brown. I mean, those guys are just delightful and just so. Oh, I can't even go on. I'm giving myself anger fits. All right.
Yes, and the Sedins are up for Goon of the Year.
Yeah.
Hey, that was a vicious shove that Sedin put on Wingles in Game 4. Come on now. Vicious.
Very, very, incredibly vicious.
Absolutely.
So for the Blackhawks, I mean, you mentioned the rubber. They play the Rubber Duckies tomorrow night. I think in a lot of ways this is going to be another test, though, because the Sharks did come off a break here, which historically they have not done well. Give them like a week off. Efforts can be kind of weak, but I guess it would be another good test right there is if they can get up for a good team in Chicago 2 days after a big victory and not have a letdown. Question where we go from there? Like, if they're good, they're bad. Thoughts?
Well, I think they have to keep their game up, which is good that they have Chicago next, because we always see them have that one game where they just go crazy, play hard and everything, and then the next game they just fall apart, which could happen on Monday night against Edmonton.
Yeah. I would
have those 2 bounce-back games would be huge. Sorry, Gentry, go ahead.
I would like to see, I don't need to see a high offensive scoring game against the Blackhawks. I would like to see, just sound defense, 2-1, 3-1 game where it's just like, you don't score a lot, but you just, but you prove a point that you can, hang with the NHL, and as NBC is quick to point out, the Chicago Blackhawks, the best team in the NHL, even though I would give that honestly to Nashville, but I digress.
I'd give it to the Blues right now, but I see your point. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I would sit there and say, I want to see them just hunker down and just say that we can shut these guys down and kind of give us that confidence. And then, the inevitable, game on February 2nd when we play Edmonton. And we're like, oh, we can just kind of treat this as a practice. And then Edmonton's like, oh, we're going against one of the best in the NHL. We should give it to these guys. And then
I'm actually really looking forward to the start. I mean, I'm not looking past Chicago, but I'm really looking forward to the start on Monday night where it's another pseudo, Western Canada swing where it's Edmonton, Calgary, and Vancouver. I don't know. I always get up for playing the Western Canada teams. I'm always excited for those, and the fact that they're kind of on the Sharks' tail, where right now as it stands, the Sharks at 58 points. Vancouver and Calgary both are sitting there at 55. So huge games. So that's what I almost don't even care if they drop one to Edmonton as long as they beat Vancouver and Calgary and keep them down low. I'm excited for those. I don't know what it is. I always get up for the Western Canada games.
I think, and also, I would like to see with the oncoming stretch, because this is now this final stretch to the playoffs, I'd like to see Stalock play more.
Absolutely.
And you probably will get that at least, I would think, on Wednesday in Calgary before they bring in Nemo Thursday in Vancouver.
See, I would actually prefer to see them start Stalock on Monday, Nemo on Wednesday, and then bring Stalock back on Thursday. Just because, we covered this before, but the case is you're never going to know what you have in this guy unless you give him an extended look, and you have to look at him versus good teams. You can't throw him in against the Edmontons and the Carolinas of the league. You have to see what he's going to give you when you're facing the teams that you're fighting against. And I don't know, with Niemi being at the end of his year, and they're going to have to make a decision, especially, and you would hope that it's going to be sometime before the deadline. Either you're going to have to make a decision to sign him and he's going to want a raise, or this is the time. Take the extended look at Stalock and figure out what you have and be able to make an educated decision.
All right, gentlemen. Sorry to interrupt here, but we have one more little bit before we wrap up. It is, there's a lot of gray area in most discussions, but here on out, everything is black and white. You're either on one side or the other side. There is no middle ground. There is no other option. There is no third option. It is the false dichotomy.
The false dichotomy!
So, question number one, and I'm only taking answers from two of you because there can only be two sides of this debate, so you got to get in quick.
AJ and Gentry, go.
The Sharks will win the Stanley Cup, or they will miss the playoffs. Who wants to go first?
Me.
Okay, AJ.
Okay.
They will miss the playoffs. The injury bug has gotten to them. You have Wingles, you have Braun. It would not surprise. Raffi is not coming back this season. Brown, let's be honest, doesn't make that big of an impact.
Rabbit's foot. Come on,
despite the rabbit's foot. You also have the case of Kennedy being this year's Marty Havlat, where he's good for 3 games and then he's out for 5 games. The injury bug is going to get him. This is the first season that Joe Thornton missed extended time. You have Marleau going for a hell of a stretch before getting a goal. The younger guys were expected to show up. They are not showing up. For me, you're going to see the teams like Calgary, Vancouver, LA, the ones just behind San Jose. They're going to be the ones that do, in fact, make moves before the trade deadline to make themselves better, where Doug Wilson is going to stay with his we're a tomorrow team. It's all about prospects and picks that we're keeping. We're not making any significant big-name moves.
See, AJ, this is a lot of explanation for a black and white issue. Eric, tell him why he's wrong. Oh, sorry, Gentry, tell him why he's wrong.
The Sharks are going to win the Stanley Cup because of John Scott.
Dude, you gotta warn me when you say that when I'm having a drink, dude.
Our 250-pound rabbit.
John Scott is going to win the Conn Smythe. He's going to win league MVP, and he is just going to become the new captain of the San Jose Sharks. That's
dude,
Gentry. What
the
hell are you smoking?
That was too good. That was too good of an answer.
It's Jack.
Oh, that's why. That makes
I
sense.
think Gentry does win that round. So
Yeah,
our next false dichotomy: best downtown bar, the Brit or ISO beers, and no third options allowed.
The Brit.
Gentry first.
The Brit.
Why is that? Make a quick case here.
Their food is amazing, their beer selection is good, and it's owned by Owen Nolan. So guess what? Everything that you need to be a Sharks fan. Go to the Brit, enjoy it, and
AJ?
help up.
Gentry, you ignorant slut. Oh my God, ISO blows doors. Not only do they have a rotating menu of 35 beers on tap, they have an exquisite outdoor beer garden that's beautiful for people watching. Across the street, you've got the awesome cheesesteak dive. Down at the corner, you've got the incredible Ike sandwiches, and you can bring all these things back, and they let you eat in there because they're not focused on being able to also have like bangers and mash. They've got beer on the brain. That's all they're there for. And hey, if you need to take it with you, they got a whole wall refrigerated just of the most. You can't do any better than that. You're out of your mind.
Okay, AJ wins this round. So one last false dichotomy for Sunday in the theme of the Super Bowl. Seahawks or Patriots?
Patriots.
Whoever wants to go first.
Patriots. For the love of God, let it be the Patriots, because I cannot sit there and listen to the bandwagon Seattle fans talk about how they've been with the team since the beginning when the shirt or when the jersey that says number 12 on it represents the year that they decided to be a Seattle fan. So please, Tom Brady, dissect that defense. Shut up, Sherman, to the point where he has nothing left to say. And for the love of God. And also, and just to get more interview points for Marshawn Lynch. So, go Pats.
AJ? Tell him why he's wrong.
Bitch, please. Richard Sherman. That's all it is, dude. Richard Sherman, beast mode, that's all it's going to take. Dude, Russell Wilson shit the bed for 3.5 quarters and still won 2 weeks ago. Still, he only needed a half a quarter to beat them. Come on, man. That's all he needed. And he's going to play the full 4 when the national spotlight is on him with the big game. And let's be honest, they're not going to underinflate the balls this time. They're actually going to take a look at them. They're going to probably test and weigh those things before every snap. So it's got to be the Seahawks, dude. I don't know what the hell you're talking. I'm sorry. It's the Seahawks. I can't even remember what team you even brought up. It's definitely the Seahawks, dude. Richard Sherman, Legion of Boom. That's it.
Score that one, Eric. You call. Who wins?
I would score that, but I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Oh, very well done. I'm going to give that one to AJ, if only for the fact that, Gentry, I don't know if you realize you had Seahawks highlights in the background while you were making your case. That was just an amazing bit of timing right there.
That's
I'm all about the
new
irony.
level, dude.
We wrap
a new level.
all
up
about
the
the
false
irony.
dichotomy. AJ wins this time. We'll tune in next time to see who wins the false dichotomy. I'll hand it over to Eric here to kind of close this out.
Basically, well, I've somehow survived this entire show with my voice. We are now 23 days away from the Stadium Series. And the Sharks tweet up, the infamous Sharks tweet up. This year it is completely different just because of where it's being held at and when. I know some of you are concerned, why is it going to be so early? The simple matter of fact is you're going up against 68,000 other people to get into the stadium. And I can't bring buttons inside. So here's the info. Red Lot 1 from 4:30 to 5:15 is where we're going to have the tweet up. The group shot will be at 5 p.m. So that way everybody can go into the spectator plaza or go inside the stadium for the game.
Why does group shot sound so nasty when you say it?
That's because I have my Barry White voice, baby.
Hey, John.
And you know what? And That's good. That's good. In fact, that's not good.
Oh, God. We're getting to the end if you can't tell, folks. So basically, 4:30 Red Lot 1 at Levi's Stadium in the parking lot. We'll all gather there. The group shot.
The group shot.
We'll be at 5 p.m.
Oh, the group shot.
We've lost our mind. And
I apologize. I took this into a different area that I didn't want to go.
Oh, yeah.
But that's okay.
Hey,
really
we are
derailed
called
that
After
one.
Dark. We
Yes,
are called
that's-
After Dark.
It is after dark. Between the halls, the jack, and the beer, it's out of control. You're lucky that we're finishing up this in an actual hour.
Right. No, it's amazing. This is dream. So 4:30 Red Lot 1 at Levi's Stadium for the Chuita. As for the rest of the night, Sharks win 6-3. Looked very good. They take on Chicago now to try to keep their crazy streak going alive against hot teams. They played Chicago well last year. I think they are kind of in the heads of Chicago. We'll see how that happens. It should be a good one. Until then, I am Eric Cura at Buckguy14 on Twitter.
And I'm AJ_Strong.
I'm at Chris JWS.
I am J Alexander 46.
And until next time, keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it real fresh. Good night. Somebody
Peace the
get me
fuck
a...
out.
Some